Ever notice how some people just kind of, I don't know, sail through life?
Yeah.
Like they charm everyone they meet.
Yeah.
They walk into a room and boom, they're the center of attention.
I know exactly what you mean.
We're diving deep into that today. And get this, there's a psychological reason behind it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's called the halo effect.
The halo effect. Oh, that's fascinating. Yeah. It's amazing how our brains work, you know? All these little shortcuts and biases.
Right.
The halo effect is definitely one of them. It's like this quirk where if we see one good thing about a person, we just assume a whole bunch of other good stuff too.
Even if there's like zero proof.
Exactly. It doesn't even matter if it's true. We just fill in the blanks with, well, with good stuff, basically.
So it's like we're giving them this invisible halo just based on like one good quality.
Perfect analogy. And it's not always about looks, although, I mean, that's a big one.
Yeah, for sure.
But it could be, I don't know, the way they talk, something they achieved, even just a really nice smile. We latch onto it, and boom, they're practically glowing in our minds.
Our source material talked about this thing with attractive employees. Like they're more likely to get hired, get promotions, all that.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of research on that.
It's like they're getting a free pass just because they're easy on the eyes, you know?
It's a real phenomenon. Shows just how strong this halo effect can be, even in, professional settings.
Makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
If you're, say, hiring someone and two people have basically the same resume,
Mm-hmm.
but one's just got that it's factor.
Ah, that charisma.
Hard to ignore that, probably.
It can definitely tip the scales. Makes you wonder about fairness, though, right?
Yeah. Like, imagine being passed over for a job just because you don't have that same sparkle.
It's a valid concern. It's supposed to be about skills and all that, not just first impressions.
Right, exactly.
Hmm.
Makes me kind of nervous now thinking about all the ways this halo effect could be affecting people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
But why do our brains even do this? Are we just that easily swayed?
Well, think about it from like an evolutionary standpoint. Way back when, our ancestors,
Oh, caveman days.
basically, yeah, they had to figure out fast who was a threat, who to trust.
High stakes stuff.
Someone who looked strong, healthy, that was a good sign, right? Better chance of survival.
So these snap judgments, they were like survival tools.
Exactly. Mental shortcuts. Problem is, now we're not in the jungle anymore. Those shortcuts, not always so accurate.
So we're stuck with these caveman brains in a modern world. Makes sense, but still kind of crazy. And you were saying it goes way beyond just looks, right? What are some other examples of this halo effect thing?
Well, think about celebrity endorsement.
Ooh, yeah.
You see some famous actor promoting, I don't know, some energy drink or something.
Right.
Suddenly, you're way more likely to buy it, even if, let's be honest, you'd never normally drink that stuff.
That's so true. Like, I swear, if I saw, like, insert celebrity name here holding a bottle of laundry detergent,
Okay, that's a good one.
I'd be like, yep, that's the detergent for me.
It's classic marketing, right? They're using that halo effect. The celebrity's good qualities, they become attached to the product, makes it seem better.
Wow. So I could be buying laundry detergent based on some subconscious bias?
It's definitely possible.
Mind blown. Okay, now I'm thinking, could this even be happening in, like, schools and
Oh,
stuff?
absolutely. There's research showing that teachers can accidentally give better grades to students who are, well-behaved or seem really enthusiastic.
Even if their work isn't actually better.
Yeah. It's not intentional, but that halo effect can slip in. The
Yeah.
teacher might be, like, subconsciously swayed.
So the teacher's pet thing, that's real.
It might have some truth to it. It's not necessarily about favoritism, just, how these biases work.
This is wild. It's like, how much of what we think is actually objective?
That's why it's so important to understand these biases so
Yeah.
we can, question ourselves, try to be fairer to others.
Okay, so I've got attractive people, maybe getting an unfair advantage at work, celebrities making us buy stuff we don't need, even teachers being swayed by, well, good vibes, I guess. Where else does this halo effect pop up?
Lots of places. Think about leadership.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who speaks confidently, commands attention, that often triggers the halo effect too.
Yeah. Like, we just assume they must be good at their job,
Right. We associate those qualities with competence.
even if there's, like,
Yeah.
no actual proof.
Exactly. Confidence is good, but it doesn't automatically equal, being good at the job.
There's that other thing, right?
The Dunning-Kruger effect?
Yes, where sometimes the people who are least competent are the most confident
That's the one.
because they don't even realize how bad they are.
Exactly.
So someone can have a super shiny halo and still not know what they're doing.
It's definitely possible.
Okay, my mind is officially blown. This halo effect is everywhere. So it's obviously powerful and can be uh, problematic for sure. But is there anything good about it? Like, is there a flip side?
There actually is. It's called the horn effect. It's kind of like the halo effect's evil twin.
The evil twin. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about this horn effect.
So instead of good traits making a halo, the horn effect is when one bad trait kind of overshadows everything else about someone.
Like they're wearing these metaphorical horns, and it makes people judge them unfairly.
Exactly. One mistake, one bad impression, and bam, you're labeled. Incompetent, untrustworthy, whatever.
Oh, I totally get that. I once tripped and fell flat on my face in front of my boss.
Oof, I bet that was embarrassing.
It was so bad.
But see, that's what the horn effect does. It takes those little slip-ups, those awkward moments.
And turns them into something bigger.
Yeah, it can make them into this lasting negative impression.
This is making me rethink everything. Like, are we all just walking around assigning halos and horns to each other?
It's definitely something to think about. The important thing is, both the halo and the horn effects, they're distortions, right?
Like our brains trying to simplify things but getting it wrong.
That's it. It probably helped our ancestors survive, but nowadays often leads to unfair judgments.
And missed opportunities, probably.
Absolutely. If we can understand these effects, we can start to, dismantle those biases, make decisions based on facts, not just impressions.
I like that. Makes me feel like I have some control over this whole thing. But before we, get too excited, let's think about what all this means for, well, you, our awesome listener.
This is going to sound kind of strange, but the halo effect can affect how we see ourselves too.
Wait, are you saying I have my own personal halo?
Yeah.
Like I'm walking around with this glowing spotlight?
Maybe. Think about it. Have you ever noticed when you're feeling good about yourself, successful at something, it kind of spills over into other areas of your life?
Oh, yeah, totally. I had this crazy winning streak playing online chess a while back, and suddenly I was like unstoppable.
Yeah.
I even aced a presentation at work, which for me is a big deal.
Could be the halo effect in action, boosting your self-perception, making you more confident.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that. But if we can, benefit from our own halos, is that really a bad thing?
It's not good or bad. It's there. Important thing is to be aware of it, how it's shaking our reality.
Okay, so how do I become aware of my own halo? It's not like I can see it, right?
It's all about self-awareness, asking yourself, am I giving myself too much credit here? Am I overlooking areas where I need to improve?
So like a little bit of humility goes a long way.
Exactly. Staying grounded, remembering we all have strengths and weaknesses.
It makes me think of all the times I've probably judged someone way too quickly or even thought I was way better than I am.
It's all about perspective, right?
Totally. I feel like I'm seeing the world differently now.
That's the beauty of learning about these cognitive biases. It opens up a whole new way of thinking.
This is awesome. I love how empowering it feels. But let's be honest, breaking free from these deeply ingrained habits in our brains, that can't be easy. Any tips for actually spotting those halos, both on ourselves and other people?
Well, there are definitely things you can do. One thing that helps is separating the person from the trait.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
So let's say you meet someone who's, really charismatic.
Yeah.
Instead of just being swept away by that, try to focus on their specific actions, what they actually do.
Like less, wow, they're so charming, and more, they really listened to my ideas in that meeting.
Exactly. Or they remembered my birthday, stuff like that. Tangible things.
So it's about evidence, not just vibes.
That's it. It helps you see through that halo, get a clearer picture of the person.
Like we're training our brains to be more, I don't know, like critical thinkers.
Yeah. Another good strategy is getting different perspectives.
Oh, right, like talking to other people.
Exactly. Talk to people you trust, get their take on the person or the situation. See if they see things differently.
Kind of like a second opinion, but for your thoughts.
That's a great way to put it, because sometimes we get so caught up in our own impressions that we miss stuff.
Okay, this is super helpful. I feel ready to tackle this whole halo thing head on. But before we wrap things up, one last question. This halo effect, it's so deep in our brains. Is there any hope of ever truly overcoming it?
That's a really good question. And the answer is, it's complicated.
Oh, no.
But it's not all bad. We can't just erase these biases, but with, effort, awareness, we can definitely make them less powerful.
So it's an ongoing thing.
It is a constant process of learning and, adjusting.
I like that. Not about being perfect, just about getting better all the time.
Exactly. Here's something else to think about.
Okay.
We've talked a lot about the bad sides of the halo effect.
Yeah.
But could there be times where it actually helps?
Oh, I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Like, are there situations where a good first impression could be a good thing?
Yeah, maybe. Think about like a doctor. If they seem really warm, confident.
Makes you feel better about the whole situation.
Exactly. Or a teacher who's really enthusiastic that can inspire students.
That's true.
So it's about figuring out the difference between real positive qualities and the inflated stuff created by the halo effect.
Okay, so it's about like using the power of first impressions for good, but being aware of the bias part.
Perfectly put.
I like that.
The whole point of understanding this stuff is to make better choices, be more thoughtful about how we judge people, and ultimately create a fairer world.
I love it. That's a great note to end on. This has been such a fascinating deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about myself, how I see other people, lots to think about.
The best kind of deep dive, right?
Absolutely. So to everyone listening, knowledge is power. Now you know about the halo effect. You can start to see it everywhere.
You might even start challenging those halos and horns when you see them.
That's right. Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, stay curious and keep those judgments in check.
The halo effect might seem kind of harmless at first glance, but it's got this, darker side.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, things can get pretty serious, especially when we're talking about fairness and, justice.
Now you've got me worried. What kind of serious stuff are we talking about?
Well, one really striking example is in, the legal system.
Okay.
Studies show that attractive defendants, they're often seen as less guilty, and they tend to get lighter sentences, too.
So just because someone's good looking, they might actually get away with something.
It's a real thing. It highlights how sneaky the halo effect can be.
Wow. It's kind of scary to think about,
Yeah.
Like it could actually affect whether someone goes to jail or not.
Exactly. It shows how powerful these biases can be, even in situations where, objectivity is supposed to be paramount.
This is starting to feel like one of those conspiracy theories, Like
Yeah.
I'm seeing halos everywhere now,
Yeah.
and they're not all so pretty anymore. What other examples are there of this dark side?
Let's think about hiring, for instance. Imagine a candidate, super qualified, but maybe they just don't have that certain, charm in the interview.
Oh, right.
And they get passed over.
It's almost like they're being punished for not being, charming enough.
It happens more than we realize the halo effect. It can make us miss out on real talent.
So it's not just about individuals getting a boost. It's also about other people being held back.
Exactly. It creates an uneven playing field.
This is heavy stuff. Okay, so we've established that the halo effect is powerful, it's everywhere, and it can be, pretty messed up.
Yeah.
But is it all bad? Is there, a flip side to this whole thing?
There is. It's called the horn effect.
The horn effect. Okay, that sounds kind of ominous.
It's like the halo effect's evil twin.
Aha, the evil twin. I like it. So instead of good traits leading to positive assumptions, the horn effect is when?
It's when one bad trait, one negative thing, it kind of overshadows everything else.
Oh, I get it. So it's like wearing these, metaphorical horns that make everyone judge you unfairly.
Yeah. Exactly. It can be one mistake, one bad first impression, and suddenly you're labeled.
Like you spill coffee at work and everyone thinks you're clumsy.
Yeah, exactly. Or you show up late to a meeting and people assume you're unreliable.
Oh, I've totally been there. One time, never mind. It's too embarrassing.
We all have those moments, right? But the horn effect can take those little slip-ups and make them seem way bigger than they actually are.
It's like they become this defining characteristic.
Yeah, it can be really tough to shake that first impression.
This is giving me a whole new perspective on how we see each other. It's like we're constantly assigning these halos and horns without even realizing it.
It's our brains trying to make sense of the world. But sometimes those shortcuts lead us astray.
So it's not just about, being nice to people or whatever. It's about recognizing that these biases are real and they can have a real impact.
That's a great point. Just being aware of these effects, that's a huge step in the right direction.
Okay, so we've talked about how the halo effect can work against us. But here's a thought. What if it could actually work for us?
Oh, interesting. You mean like using it to our advantage?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is there a way to, make the halo effect work in our favor?
It's definitely something to consider. Have you ever noticed that when you're feeling super confident in one area of your life, it kind of spills over into other areas?
Yeah, totally. Like if I'm doing well at work, I suddenly feel more confident in my personal life too.
Exactly. That could be the halo effect giving you a boost.
So it's like having your own personal hype team in your head.
Haha, exactly.
Wow.
It can be a powerful tool if you know how to use it.
Okay, but how do we do that? How do we, harness the power of the halo effect without letting it, like, take over?
That's where self-awareness comes in. You have to be able to recognize when the halo effect is at play, both in how you see yourself and how you see others.
So it's like being mindful of those first impressions
Yeah.
and not letting them completely cloud our judgment.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance between